It usually starts with an email from the president of the company, and he sends an email to his EVP of marketing, and the subject, it was sent last August, and the subject of the email was the new ad campaign. And the email says, Stan, I showed the campaign to Evelyn, and she had some trouble reading the copy in the third ad. Can you take a look at that and see if you can make it more legible? And it's signed Lou. Now, for the moment, although we'll be coming back to it, we won't ask the question is, who is Evelyn, and why is the president of the company showing the new ad campaign to her? But let's just assume that it's somebody that actually should see it. So the president sends this to the EVP of marketing. The EVP of marketing sends a note to the ad agency saying, Ken, we were reviewing the third ad. We had some concerns about the background in the type area. Let's discuss it. And then the president of the ad agency sends an email to the account manager saying, Bob, just got an email from the client. They don't like the backgrounds on the ads. Let's get the creative team together and discuss it. And it's signed Ken. And Bob sends an email to the creative director saying, Andy, we've got to change the color of the backgrounds on the new campaign. Can you get our team together for a meeting this afternoon? Let's say 4 p.m. And the creative director sends an email to the creative group saying, guys, the client just killed the new campaign. The account team wants to meet with us as soon as possible. Clear your desk, get ready for a late one. We're regrouping at 4 p.m. in the creative conference room, Andy. Marketers are from Mars, creatives are from Venus, and how to solve your earthly problems. Folks, I wish I had made up that previous string. What I want to talk to you about today is about the language disconnect between creatives and marketers and the process that can change that relationship. As a human being, we have this overwhelming urge to solve the problem. So when the client calls up and says they're having trouble reading the copy in the third ad, the instinct everybody has is to say, solve the problem. So they go in and they go to the creative people and they say, hey guys, we got to make the type bigger. That's mucking about in the area of solution and playing creative director. The creative person doesn't know why you have to make the type bigger. They don't know why they're being asked to do it. They're suddenly at odds with it and going, why are we doing this? I don't understand it. But if you come to the creative people and say, hey, the client's having trouble reading the copy in the third ad, can you solve that? Then leave the room and let the creatives do their job. And the solution that creative people may come up with is they might make the type bigger. They might change the color of the font. They may change the type font. They might change the whole layout of the ad. They will solve the problem, but they know the problem they're trying to solve. Great advertising is not necessarily comfortable. It's going to make people uncomfortable, and it takes a little time for people to get used to it. Specific is terrific. Give me the freedom of a well-defined strategy. That is straight from David Ogilvy. Now, the paradox of creative is that limits create unlimited creativity. And I'm going to give you an example of that. I'd like you to give me a list of forms of transportation. So, give me some forms of transportation. Boat. Sorry? Feet. Walking. Train. Helicopter. Bus. Helicopter. Bus. This is a strange group today, folks. Teleporter, there you go. Teleporter. Yeah, beat me up. Okay, all right, that's a good list for now. So now we've got a list: boat, walking, train, helicopter. I can read this, folks. That's scary. Boat, train, helicopter, bus, teleporter. Now that I'm looking at the list, I go, now that I'm looking at the list, I realize I don't want forms of transportation. I'd like forms of transportation to take a vacation. Okay, so give me some forms of transportation to take a vacation.
Boat.
No, you can't say boat because you brought me boat already.
Oh, okay.
Everybody catch that? Yeah, I said, you can't give me boats. He said, ship. That's great. Creative, huh? Where were we? Plane. Okay. Car. RV, hot air. Okay. So notice what's happened. First of all, you're a little less enthusiastic about yelling out alternatives. This is what happens when, this is the example of letting the first round of creative do your thinking for you. See, what happens is the creatives say, wait a minute, we just did all of this work. Why are you making us do different work? And how come I can't bring back boat? Because, that's a perfectly good form of transportation for a vacation. So what's happened is, you become less enthusiastic about providing the solutions. Now that I'm looking at the second round of creative, I go, you know what? What I really want is forms of transportation to take a family of 4 on a weekend camping trip 50 miles from home. Now, nobody wants to give me anything at this point. Bike, bike, 4-bike, bike and RV. Okay, so here's the point of this. If I'd given you the assignment to begin with of forms of transportation to take a family of 4 on a weekend camping trip 50 miles from home, you could have done what the car manufacturers have done, which is give you, this is a partial list of the 4-wheel drives, minivans, and SUVs that the car manufacturers come up with. What the point of it is that this whole thing about limits create unlimited creativity. That is the paradox of the creative process. If the creative, thank you, if the creative isn't specific, then what happens is the creatives have to do a little here, 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 a little here. They have to just kind of touch the continuum because they don't know what the problem is you're trying to solve. But if the problem is very, very specific, forms of transportation to take a family of 4 on vacation 50 miles from home, then they have the luxury of being able to drill down in depth at this one pillar, at this one place. That's the limits create unlimited creativity. The worst thing a marketer can ever say or a client can ever say to an agency is, I didn't want to limit their creativity. I didn't want to tell them that my boss doesn't like blue because I didn't want to limit their creativity. I didn't want to tell them that the research shows that nobody under 40 really cares about our product because I didn't want to limit their creativity. It's very much a hunting analogy because that's what we're doing. We're hunting for leads. We're hunting for prospects. And marketing is the hunter. Marketing is about deciding what are we going after. Are we hunting deer? Are we hunting grouse? Are we hunting quail? Are we hunting ducks? Are we hunting giraffes? What is it we're hunting for? Then once marketing has decided that, then research is the dog. Once you hunt, you say, okay, we're going to go for grouse, and you take the dog and you say to the dog, go find me some grouse. And the dog goes over there and sniffs out a bush, and it just takes that point and says, there's grouse in that bush. And creative is the gun. You go, okay, there it is. We found the target. Get the grouse. Okay? There are 2 things you don't want to do. You don't want to give the gun to the dog, you know, which people do. You laugh, but that's what we all do. Is a campaign is done, and somebody says, hey, why don't we run this campaign by a focus group just to double check it? That's research. That's giving the gun to the dog. You brought research in the wrong point in the process. Your focus group can't evaluate new creative work. What a focus group can do is can give you a contextual understanding of the campaign that needs to be developed. And the second thing you don't want to do is, as the gun's aiming at the grouse, you don't want to, as the marketer, stand and look down the barrel of the gun to make a judgment about it. Okay? Let the creatives hit the target. Great creative is all about process. I think what I've been trying to talk about here, and I hope you all understand, is that as a creative person, what I've been talking about is give me the structure and the discipline I need to be undisciplined. You've got to do this. It's always going to come around. What's your review methodology? Pizza is the most powerful management tool ever created. If I come up to Rick and I say, Rick, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I'd like to have a meeting with you and we're going to review all the creative for the client. Rick's sitting here saying, maybe he'll die before tomorrow. Maybe before tomorrow at 2, he'll die. But if I say to Rick, will there be pizza there? With Rick, no, but if I say to Rick, you know what, we're going to have a meeting tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Do you have your team here? We're going to have lunch. We're going to have some pizza and beer, and let's go over the advertising for last year. It's a signal that no one's going to play the blame game. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to just look at the advertising, look at it objectively, not point fingers at anybody and say, is this working? Why is it working? Why isn't it working? Very, very powerful tool, pizza. Very satisfying tool. What's your learning process? Your creatives and marketers attend the same seminars. How many times do you see a situation where the marketers go off to marketing seminars and the creatives go off to creative seminars and nobody's talking to each other? So they have no base. Again, it's about this measurement and language thing. When it's right, process becomes your competitive advantage. Process leads to a better work environment. Better work environment lets you hire and attract better people, which lets you produce better work, which gets you better results, gives you more corporate support, and ultimately meets the most important thing of all, which is you get to have more fun. This is a fun business. You know, it shouldn't be hard. We make it hard because we've let the process get away from us. So that's pretty much all I have to say about this. I will be glad to sign books and sell books and sign books afterwards. And if you have any questions, I'm here. I'm here for questions. Thank you very much.